The Niners rolled the Buccaneers. The Lions are for real. The Bengals rough up the Browns. Cowboys get by the Texans. Jags smoke the Titans. Bills, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Panthers, Chargers all win. And when I was watching the game last night with the Chargers, keep in mind that they shut down Tua and that Dolphins offense, and the Chargers were missing 6 starters on defense. The Chargers are now 7-6. You got some their wide receivers back, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. They've missed a total of 11 games. Herbert was banged up a little bit earlier in the season, rib injury, but they looked good last night. And Herbert had some great throws. The Chiefs are going to win the division. They're 3 games ahead of the Chargers. But the Chargers' tough start shouldn't fool you, though, because it's still a talented team, a good team. And come playoff time, it's one of those you don't want to face. And you saw that last night. And I know for as much love as we've given Tua, he looked horrible last night. 3 for 17 in the first half. And Chris Collinsworth was saying, look, I'm going to look at these throws with no pass rush. He wasn't even close to these things. And Tyreek Hill did bail him out. We picked up a fumble and took it 60 yards. That was surprising because, the Dolphins appear to be a really balanced team, a good team. They got weapons. They've lost 2 in a row, and now you got Saturday night in Buffalo. Just got real. When we're talking about MVP candidates, now is when you play like an MVP candidate. And Jalen Hurts did on the road against the pretenders, the Giants, and they blew them out. Eagles look wonderful there. But this is where you make the name for yourself, winning these games, important games, games where you're on the road. And I think that's the interesting part of who is the MVP this year. Mahomes looked really good, and then he looked bad. Had 3 interceptions there. And, he still fascinates me. There's one guy where you go, oh, my God. He's the oh, my God guy. He's the Steph Curry of the NFL. But you're blowing out Denver. Then you let Denver come back and make it interesting there. And Brett Rippon comes in for Russell Wilson Jr. III, who got not concussed. I like how they go. Russ goes into the tent, and then he comes back out, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Meanwhile, one of the officials for the Broncos has his hand on the back of Russ just to steady him. And like, no, you're not going back in. But that one was a little bit more surprising because the Chiefs. And here's the one thing that I would keep an eye on with the Chiefs. And it's going to surprise you when I tell you this. Their running game is really good. And when you get to the postseason, as great as Mahomes is, if you can give him that option of, I can rely on my running game, it just makes them so much more dangerous. Isaiah Pacheco, this is a 7th-round pick out of Rutgers. But having that running game, having that balanced attack there, and, because, I always said with the Chiefs, sometimes they would only need 3 minutes, and then the defense is out there a lot longer. Now you can have some ball control there, but that's something just to keep an eye on as we head closer to the playoffs. The big story was Brock Purdy going so-called toe-to-toe with Tom Brady. But if I said there's going to be a blowout on Sunday, that the network carrying the game is going to have to go to another game, you're probably not picking the Niners against the Buccaneers. But that one was over at halftime. Here's Brock Purdy facing Tom Brady.
For me, I just kept telling myself, dude, this thing ain't over with that guy on the other side of the field. I just wanted to keep putting up points on the board however many times as we could, knowing, this dude's made all these crazy comebacks in his career. So I didn't want that to happen in my first game, as a starter.
Here's Tom Brady on Brock Purdy.
Brock played really well. They made a bunch of plays, offensively and defensively and special teams. And we didn't make many offensively. We didn't make many defensively. We didn't make many on special teams. So, you win because you make plays. You keep them from making plays.
That's the voice of somebody who just got roughed up. That's a loser voice right there. And you could just see it was 2 different teams. It felt like varsity, junior varsity there. And the Niners with that defense, as good as that is. Now, Deebo Samuel's probably going to miss the rest of the regular season with what looks like a high ankle sprain. but you still have weapons there. Certainly Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, and Kittle. But it goes back to Kyle Shanahan kind of figuring out, what can I give Brock Purdy? That's why I go back. I had to laugh when I hear the Cleveland Browns fans go, well, you got to give Deshaun Watson some time. Nobody gave Baker Mayfield any time. Got on a plane, and the next day he's winning a game. Brock Purdy, he hadn't had any time. By the way, where's the Browns running game? Where's the Browns defense? Like, that's not all just on your quarterback there. I mean, that's the coaching staff. What a great disappointment there. I mean, you already embarrassed yourself. You went out and got Deshaun Watson. Good. He's your quarterback. Now, if you sell your soul, then win. It's like, when coaches cheat, or when you used to be able to cheat. Now it doesn't matter anymore with NIL. But when you used to cheat, then cheat to win. Win a championship here. I mean, you hit Joe Burrow 3 times. That's it. Where are all these defensive stars? Where's Nick Chubb? Now, I'm watching that game. I'm going, okay, Deshaun's rusty. What the hell is Brock Purdy? And played? And he's a 7th rounder. He's Mr. Irrelevant. He's the last guy drafted. You win a contest. You're the quarterback for the Niners. That's what it felt like with Brock Purdy. Hey, I won? Yes, and you get to start against Tom Brady. Well, okay, don't expect much. He played as if he's had the playbook and he knew exactly what he was doing, taking first-team reps. Now, sometimes you're so young you don't know any better. The older you get, the more you start to think like, oh, my God, Brock Purdy probably doesn't know better. He's like, I don't know. Yeah, just go out there and let's just play. Let's wing it. But that defense is great. And if you got that and you got those weapons, I know the Eagles are great. I've felt all along that's the most balanced team, offensive line, defensive line, and that's where I start. But you're putting up 48 on the Giants. And, if you're looking at the 2 best teams, I would say it's the Niners and the Eagles in the NFC right now. Yes, Marv.
And now I'm rooting for Brock Purdy to be the league MVP because when he scored that touchdown, did you see how his teammates reacted? I mean,
every one of them.
Every single one of them. So I was like, look, I am on the Brock-sember.
No, we're not doing Brock-sember.
Brock-sember.
No. It was Brocktober.
He should have came in October to help us out.
By the way, look at what the Niners' off-season quarterbacking situation is going to be. Because it was Jimmy G. They'll probably bring him back. Well, now he's hurt. Trey Lance has been out the whole season. Now he's supposed to be the future. And then you got Brock Purdy. I know it's one game, but that's a big game.
You got a pretty big mess down there. I would have had to beat Fritzy to it. I had to. It's early.
And then if he wins, I mean, just the added drama that I guess it's a good kind of drama to have for the 49ers. My Lions, Dan Campbell. This guy is ready to take on anybody in the NFL.
I don't think there's a surprise here. We I've said it before. It's hard when you get down in the dumps and you were where we were at. It's easy to lose faith, but these guys never did, and we stayed true to what we were about. And they knew, they believed we were one play away, and that's where we've been. And so now we're making the play. We're making the one extra play. It's not costing us, and we're able to overcome some of these mistakes we were making earlier. So, no, our guys, they know they belong. They know they belong, and they know when they play football like we've been playing the last 6 weeks, we can play with anybody. That's the truth.
And it is the truth. The rest of the regular season, I don't know if they can make the playoffs, but if you would have said the Lions will end up with a better record than the Rams or the Packers, that would have been surprising. Certainly the Packers, who I thought were going to go to the Super Bowl, but the Lions are a really good offensive team. We'll get to phone calls coming up. We have a new category here. It's called Mink.
The Mink, Dan.
M-I-N-Q.
Most important non-quarterback. Right now in the NFL, I was looking at the games yesterday.
All right.
I think here's the person I'm suggesting. So take out quarterback, the most important person to the team's playoff run going forward this season.
Okay.
I'm going to suggest Jamar Chase from the Bengals. While this is a very obvious pick, I don't think they can win it without him. like if Nick Bosa got hurt for the 49ers, I think they would still be okay. It would hurt really bad. Micah Parsons, that'd be a terrible loss for the Cowboys. And there's some other wide receivers. Justin Jefferson, clearly. I think Jamar Chase is that guy because they are completely different. He's uncoverable. He's great after the catch.
He had 15 targets yesterday. It's one of those where the Browns knew it was going his way. That's when you know that you have a difference maker. I would say, so the Mink. Tyreek Hill is on the list. I would put Tony Pollard of the Cowboys on the list.
Bloop.
Yeah.
Oh, you go next level.
Yes, Todd.
How far down do you have to go before you get to Mr. Diggs in Buffalo?
He'd be on the list. Justin Jefferson be on the list. Who else would be?
You're Tony Pollard. Okay.
Hey, you know what I think about Zeke Elliott? Never would have brought him back for the second contract because I thought Tony Pollard was the better running back, and he is. And he's a good receiver as well. But I'm watching that Dallas game against the Texans, and I thought, okay, come on, let's go, guys. Let's go. And I thought that Lovey would go for the field goal, and they would be up 6, and then you would force the Cowboys to have to score a touchdown. So put even more pressure on them. And I'm thinking the Texans aren't going to score a touchdown in that situation. They're just not capable. But, you're the Texans. Why not go for it? I understand that. You can take down the Cowboys, and if worst case scenario, you pin Dallas back, they got to go 98 yards. And Dak hadn't looked great. And I thought, okay, I guess I would have kicked the field goal. Then you kick the ball in the end zone. They start at the 25, and maybe that's probably playing to Dallas's strengths, get him at the 25 and let them control the clock, which they did, and they made some big plays. Dallas stole a win there from the Texans, but give credit when they needed to. They made some big plays there, and it starts with, Dak Prescott there. Here's Mike McCarthy on facing the Texans and struggling.
I just think it's the reality of the National Football League, and that was really part of our message this week is don't take the cheese. And don't take the cheese, a big part of that is the expectations of everybody else, because of the way you played the week before, because of your record versus your record, and that's where you get in trouble.
Don't take the cheese, don't take the bait, I think is what Mike is talking about there. Don't take the cheese.